What's up, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of Entrepreneurs Podcast. I'm your host, David Nelson. I have a very special guest on with me today. Y'all probably seen the flyers, but I will be interviewing my queen, my wife, to get ready to bring her on, and basically she's gonna talk about some good stuff about travel nursing. And so the main purpose of this podcast, it was just on my heart to want to interview, it could be local entrepreneurs, it could be entrepreneurs from other states. If you have your own business or whatever the case may be, I just wanted to try and connect you with your audience. A lot of people have a misconception, I believe, about entrepreneurship, because a lot of times people tend to think that entrepreneurs just automatically, if you're an entrepreneur, you just automatically make money. You do at some point, but there's so much that go into being an entrepreneur. But I'm not going to dive too much into that. I'm going to have other people on to talk about their different businesses and stuff like that. So, man, y'all get ready to rock out with me. I'm about to bring my beautiful wife on. So, y'all give me 1 second. Baby, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
So, how you doing?
I'm feeling good.
How you feeling today?
I feel really positive, motivated, productive. I feel good.
That's awesome. So, like I was explaining to everybody, I definitely wanted to bring you on so we can dive into travel nursing. A lot of people might not see travel nursing as an opportunity to be an entrepreneur, but it is very well opportunity to be an entrepreneur, right?
Right. It is very nurse forward. Travel nursing uh, has been flexible for my schedule, for my family schedule. You can work 3 months, be off three, work 3 months, be off one. So it's you kind of are your own boss. You decide where to go, what you want to do.
That's awesome. And of course, like people understand something. I've been on the road with my wife. We've been together this whole journey of travel nursing. So a lot of this stuff I already know, but I'm gonna ask from a standpoint of a person that don't know, so everybody can feel on the same page. You know what I'm saying? So babe, I'm gonna call you babe because you my babe. So let everybody know your name to the people that don't know you. I know it's probably a lot of people that's gonna watch this and they already know you. But for the people that don't know, just share with the people a little bit of your background from nursing.
Okay, hi guys. I'm Janisha Nelson. Of course, Davon's wife. I started nursing in 2010. That's when I got my license. Um, and I started at AMED Health Medical Center. I've been a nurse now going on almost 15 years. And I've done settings such as med-surg, um, med-surg tele, neuro-ortho trauma, um, triage nursing, which I do now, right now, and travel nursing the last 7 years, um, through 2022. The last 7 years, um, I did home health. I've worked in urgent care. Yeah, and then travel nursing gave me a lot of experience. Well, ortho, I've worked on oncology units, um, liver kidney specialty units. So that's a little bit about my background. But I've worked in different roles as case manager, charge nurse, um, and I did start. I want to say, I believe the journey is important, but the start is more important. Never forgetting where you started from. I did start as a nursing assistant at AMED Medical Center when I was in nursing school. So I did work through school. Um, part time, and I just climbed the ladder from nursing assistant to PCT to PCT2, monitor tech. Then I eventually became a nurse. So that's a little bit about me.
Awesome, awesome. So I got a series of questions.
Okay.
And I'm gonna ask you these questions, and you just answer, based on how you feel and your experience. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So first question. What inspired you to become a travel nurse?
Oh man. I want to say I know her name was Judy. I want to say her name was Judy Alt. I was a nursing assistant on second shift at AMED, and she was like this bright red head with she always had on red lipstick, and she seemed so interesting. And I remember asking what she did. She said, "I'm a travel. I'm here to help the hospital." I said, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna put that on my bucket list." I said, "But I don't know. I'm too afraid to leave home. You know, just I don't know. About the uncertainty." She said, "You don't have to do it. You." And I remember she was saying, "Look at me." I actually studied for a test um time, and she kind of gave me a little hint on it, rhythm, heart rhythm, and I never forgot her. And when I started traveling her, I actually text her. I didn't get a response because the number probably changed then, but she inspired me. I don't know. She sure did. I never forgot I met her. So, and I thought, she was interesting, cool, very mysterious, and she seemed so sure of it. So I like that. I like that spunk she carried.
Okay. Awesome. Um, I do know nursing has challenges. Doesn't matter if you are traveling or if you are staff, whether you're working in a clinic, whether you're working in a hospital, home health, um, from your experience, because you do have a ton of experience, how do you handle the challenges of being away from home and loved ones while on an assignment?
Man, how I handle it, we Marco Polo a lot. I know I can text or call. If I need emotional support or just prayer, laugh and see my husband and my baby. So, we use Marco Polo a lot. If you don't know what that is, it's a video chatting app. You can, leave little messages, and that works because sometimes I might not be able to be live. I want video versa. So that. Secondly, um, being away from my family, I think about my family as my wife, you know, and I don't look at nursing as just a paycheck, but I look at if God is giving me the opportunity to go on an assignment, someone within that 13 weeks needs me. Somebody, whether it's a staff member needing encouragement, like a fellow nurse or a patient. So, um, outside of that, I just keep my goals in front of me. My family, is my why, and then the goal is to, of course, make a bag and get, financially, ahead, and what you would typically make on an average hospital working as a staff nurse.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's been some challenging times, um, but it's been worth it. You know what I'm saying? Like the challenges will come. You're gonna have challenges no matter what you do, whether you're a nurse, football player, basketball player, whatever you there's always gonna be challenges. But it's how you handle those challenges will determine your outcome a lot. Um so you've been, which I know this, but you've been multiple places travel nursing, right? What is one of your most memorable experiences from one of your travel nurse assignments?
Oh man.
I know it's a lot. It's a lot, but
Um I would have to say, uh, most memorable would have been when we were in California. It was me, Davon, and Gideon at the time. And Davon, okay, so this assignment was kind of strange. It was a handful of nurses, literally, and we were pre-selected by the government um, to do a vaccination clinic in Southern California in Los Angeles, downtown Los Angeles area to less fortunate people. So we were traveling to different locations literally every day, 7 days a week, Sunday through Sunday, right? And Davon, the days that I did get off at the beginning, I'm so glad we took advantage of it because um, even though he didn't really know my team consisted of less than 10 nurses, right? And he somehow figured out who my leader was, um, and got them all together to celebrate me for my vegan cookbook release. My vegan ebook cookbook was coming out April 1st of 2021, and he got them all in this nice restaurant in Beverly Hills, Coco de Chow. And even though it's like a steakhouse, he made sure that they could cater to me and had me cauliflower steak made, right? And he ate cauliflower steak too that night, and the whole team showed up. It was a big surprise. And he told me that I was going to meet Chef Ramsay. So I done got dressed up and everything because he's like dressed nice. He didn't say like super nice or just laid back like we're gonna be doing. He said dressed nice. So I'm in a little romp heel, suits up together. Big hat did my face and got my hair on point. And when we showed up, it was like all of them. They were like surprised. I was just like, who are y'all? Because I only see them in masks and scrubs. So I really wasn't aware that that has to be the most because he combined my family, my love for food, and then one of the passions that I love for nursing together. So it was all in like this beautiful restaurant, and we were just literally in California, just doing. So that has to be the most I have to choose. There's many more.
Oh God, we have a whole book we can write. It's a lot. Which some people might, from the surface, from the outside looking in, right? They may say, oh, travel nursing, it may seem easy. All you gotta do is just pick a place and go there, right? As we know, being working in it and actually being in it, there's actually more that goes into that. So from your perspective and your experience, what factors do you consider when choosing your next travel nurse assignment?
You need to look out it's gonna be worth it for you to pick up because traveling is about visiting your places. So is it gonna be worth it? How far is it? Where do you even want to go? Does it make sense? I look at the hospital rating. I look at kind of housing, the kind of housing that you have. I also look at where you want to be at the end of your assignment. What do you want to be actually making at the end of the assignment? And that's pretty much it, I think. Yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
So, do me a favor, check is your Wi-Fi on?
No.
Turn your Wi-Fi on.
Okay, it's on now.
That made, because the video kind of broke up a little bit. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. It froze for a second, but I can hear you now.
Okay. Okay, it seemed like it's moving a little bit smoother. I figure I said, babe must not have a Wi-Fi on.
Sorry,
Because
guys.
you sitting in your office and you need your Wi-Fi, so it should be StreamYard is a little bit smoother than Zoom. That's why I chose this platform. Um, so some of the factors, just to reiterate, because I think the video kind of slowed down. So location, the amount of money, and housing, and the distance, right? Those are some of the factors that matters in the travel assignment.
Yeah, and the rating of the hospital. I'm gonna be honest, most of them don't have good ratings online. So you can also ask your recruiter their previous travelers' experience with that particular hospital. And did they like it? Did they not like it? And hopefully, if you have a good recruiter, they'll be honest. Yeah, they'll be honest with
Okay. Now, like we talking about travel nursing, right? And with that, it causes you to go into different environments, different settings, because every hospital, even though it's a hospital, is not the same. That I mean, you don't have to work there to know that every hospital is not the same. You know, with your experience, how do you adapt to new environments and teams quickly?
you. And what quickly?
Teams, how do you adapt to new environments and the different teams quickly?
Okay, gotcha. New environment. I just I listen, I watch. I want to do for that facility what I'm there to do, which is to help them. So I want to become very flexible, even if it's something I may not per se like. I listen and do it their way. Even if I've been to a facility that has done it an easier way, I don't care. I just try to go with what they tell me and become great at that quickly. Because anybody that knows travel nursing, you only get 3 days of orientation, then you're by yourself, right? It's quick.
Mhm.
So that's what they're paying you to do is adapt quickly. So um, I do that. And then as far as the team, I remain friendly. I stay humble. I don't go in there saying how long I've been in there, you know, I remain likable, and approachable, and I offer my help. You know, that's how you gain the most respect is when you offer help, not just to the nurses, but to the nursing assistant, to the secretary. And I try to do my job in its entirety. But some nurses would do the bare minimum and leave work for other people to clean up, you know. But if I know the nurse on, I'm gonna try to have her ID bag hanging in there. If I know mine has half, that's paying it full because you want it done for you, right? So, and if it's like if I'm giving blood, I'm gonna make sure my blood's gonna be finished at 6:45. I'm gonna clean it up and finish it and get the patient settled before I hand them. You know, you don't want to leave a mess for the next nurse. So I think just being a good person translates into your nursing, you know, and
Mhm.
not doing it sloppy, but doing it, just being being the nurse you want to come behind. So I just do it that way, and you don't have to worry about anything else after that. They'll like you as long as you do your
Sound about right.
work.
um, well, let me find my question.
Oh,
Okay, so when you first start out with nursing, you really don't start out as a travel nurse, right? So it's something that has to grow. You have to grow into. Um, how has travel nursing helped with your personal and professional growth?
man, personally, I became way more confident Once I started traveling. Even though you get nervous at the beginning of new assignments, um, you gain confidence because you're like, man, not everybody can do this, you know, and
Hmm.
go in and actually crush it, you know. So, personally confident, um, allowing us to live the life we never thought we, you know, and or you probably did, but I was like, man, I probably never go to Cali, never get to do this, get to do that, you know, when I was a kid. But now I see anything is possible as long as you have a dream and a goal and a supportive spouse if you're married. And then professionally, it's grown me in my skill set um, and exposed me to things that I didn't see, you know, before different computer programs, different patient population, the culture of how different hospitals do different things. Even when it comes down to like how they the admission and discharge process, the lingo, little tips and tricks. I got a lot of tips and tricks that I've learned along the way to help my patients, you know, in their healing journey. So yeah, pretty it's ever changing. You never stop learning in the field. And that's what I
That's what I was gonna say. I think it's a just like with anything, it's always a growth process. There's always room to grow. I know some people, uh, and this is gonna lead me into my next question. You might have um, some new nurses or seasoned nurses leaving from one environment, whether it be home health or leaving the staff side of nursing to go travel. And once they find their footing in traveling, which we have, and they find that sweet spot. It can often seem like, oh man, where do I go from here? Like, man, I done left this and I here making this type of money and get to experience life on a whole different level. So what advice do you have for other nurses considering a career in travel nursing?
um do your homework. Make sure to scout out uh nurses that have done it before. Reach out. Don't just go blind. Um how I got started was I reached out to a nurse I had worked with when I saw she was traveling, and I had a sense of direction, and I actually went with the company that she worked with, so I wasn't going out there blind, and I had the same recruiter as well that she worked with, so I did my research. I wasn't afraid to reach out and ask. Um, Once you get someone's recruiter, reach out to them, email them, let them know your goals, your passion, um, if you need expertise in a certain area, get your certifications, make sure you've got your BLS, ACLS, um, stroke scale certification, whatever you feel like they're going to need. Make sure all that stuff is up to date. Make sure you have a clear start date in mind. Um, and just explore the possibilities of where you could go, you know, and just keep in mind how you're going to get there and how you're going to get back. Because some assignments, some travel, we've always drove, even from South Carolina to Arizona, we drove 28 plus hours. And we drove back to South Carolina from California, really, technically. So we've always driven, but it's some nurses that I know they fly. So keep in mind having your money together before you go, because sometimes it can be like a 2 week layover start. Hence, that was happening to us in Cali. you
Yeah.
know, given a start date, and then the hospital contract got canceled, and that's when we found out we were going to be brought on vaccination clinic. So be flexible with change. You got to be willing to be adaptable. So that's what I would say. What else beforehand? Make sure you know that scrub color of the hospital so you can make sure you got the correct uniform. Because I've ran into travelers, they didn't ask and they showed up and they got sent home because they needed, navy blue, whatever. Sometimes they'll let you still wear in your whatever color you want, but most hospitals want you to look a part of the theme. So,
Awesome, awesome. Now I know I asked you, like, what was the most memorable, um, all around travel nursing can be fun. From my experience being with you on the road, I see it as like an empty box, and you only get out of it what you put into it. And we've had some fun times, and then we've had some moments where we were like, you know what? I think we chose the wrong turn somewhere back there. We need to just turn around and try this thing again. Hence Kingsport, Tennessee. Um, um, what has been your least most favorite like experience with travel nursing? Like the I have to say worst experience. Let's just keep it raw. Like, what has been the worst experience
the
of
worst
travel nursing?
the worst experience I think is being somewhere you don't want to be. And early on, I didn't know nothing about really touching base with other travel nurses potentially. I don't do this all the time, but I really don't do it at all. But in this particular assignment, I should have. But it's wise if you're very unfamiliar with a place to ask someone or reach out to a recruiter that may have another traveler you could talk to, but before you go. But Kingsport, Tennessee was by far. I did not like it there. The hospital staff, great. The hospital nurse is great. My management team, great. The easiest charting system, great. But the atmosphere, very much so culturally behind. If I could put it nicely, they were racist. Blatantly, literally, me and Davon experienced racism on a whole nother level out there. Um, yeah, and you could walk in and know because you're black, you ain't welcome because they would clear out the space to not be around. So that part was very challenging. My skin broke out, Um, I just, yeah, it was bad. I did not extend at that hospital. That's the first time I've not extended at a hospital. Normally they ask you to stay, and they did. I said we couldn't wait. I think we left Kingsport on two wheels. I really do. And Kingsport was um the travel assignment where me and Davon hydroplaned almost off the side of a mountain. We almost died. And I was like, from now on, I'm gonna make sure that um yeah, be very selective. Don't just let my recruiter talk me into, just because it's available. Make sure it's somewhere you're gonna enjoy, even when the sacrificial part of travel nursing comes, like my holidays. Make sure it's somewhere that you're gonna enjoy being there on a holiday, so it's not gonna be, you know, bad. But it was some highlights too, but primarily it was bad. Very bad.
you know, Being on the road with you and getting to experience it from a spousal standpoint, um, we've had some memorable times, on the road. One of my most favorite, like, funniest moments, and when I start saying this, you gonna laugh because you gonna go right back to this moment. But so while we were on an assignment, and I think it was coming, I think it was around my birthday. My wife had planned us a cruise, right? And so we the day came for us to go on the cruise. We down in Charleston, getting ready to port, get on the boat, whatever, have fun. It was my first cruise, first time on a cruise, and we on the cruise, we having a great time. Well, And all this travel, it ties in with Travel Nurse.
So,
Um, we in middle of the ocean. I mean, literally middle of the ocean. You surrounded by water on all sides. Well, how my wife planned it was, we would be out on middle of the ocean on the boat, and payday was to roll around. So
oh boy.
we out on the middle of the ocean, and the organization or the company that my wife was working with at the time, somebody forgot to press the button for the direct deposit. Okay. So literally we spending majority of our time, my wife calling, um, having to use the ship phone to call back on land and try to get them to figure something out quickly, because literally, when you on a cruise, right? If you ain't never been on a cruise, side note, ain't never been on a cruise, you can start to have a little bit more fun than what your bank account will allow. Okay.
Right.
So what happens is, when the cruise ship is over with, they got people standing at the doorway ready to collect the fun, the
Before
funds for
you get
the
off the
fun
ship.
you've had. And the thing is, you get so caught up having fun that you don't even think about it. So it's like, well, I can go and get this drink, and I ain't have to pull out my card. Yeah, have fun. Turn up. Yeah, you turn up all right. You gonna run up a whole bill.
Right, yeah.
So that's kind of what happened to us, and they didn't press the button for the direct deposit. So we had to get that thing worked out, and it worked out for us. So shout out
That,
Carnival.
that doggone Marcus at Maxim Healthcare. Look, I'm
Oh
gonna take
my
y'all on
God.
blast. Marcus at
Oh man.
Maxim. Y'all, I done went off on the cruise ship. People looking at me, I done went slap off on Marcus. I'm like, what do you mean? Y'all didn't send in my direct deposit. Like I didn't accidentally not clock in to work. I clocked in, so I'm gonna need y'all to fix this. But thank God Carnival is like, I will probably stay faithful to Carnival because they came through. Carnival was like, oh, don't worry about it. You guys, well, me, you've traveled before, so we're just gonna waive off the 400 and something dollars. Don't worry about it. And we were like, what? They was like, yeah, go ahead off the ship. Because they knew what had happened. Y'all, my plan didn't work. My plan for payday in the middle of the cruise didn't work. We spent the last 2 days of our cruise like, oh my gosh, travel nursing.
Oh God. That's one for the books. I'm gonna
But that
always
has
remember
never
that.
happened again, y'all. That's never happened.
So yeah, we coming to the end of the questions. I've been enjoying myself. I just got a few more to ask, and then we're gonna land this plane. Um, for some people, they might have the title nurse, right? But be a traveling nurse, it's a little bit deeper than that. What skills do you believe are essential for success at being a travel nurse?
Man, um, character, like being tact, um, uh, humility, um, a go-getter type attitude, but not too aggressive. Being able to listen and adjust quickly. Um, being able to have an open mind. Um, learning the culture. I like to learn the culture before I learn the people that I'm going to be serving, so that way you're prepared. Like, example, Arizona's heavy Mexican population, Hispanic population. So already understanding the culture that most of your patients are going to be Spanish speaking, you need to have a lot of patience, you know, because you're going to be on that phone or having to call for an interpreter one out of every two or three patients, right? And it's the potential to have 4 out of 6 of your patients Spanish speaking. So you're going to need that patience for the interpretation. Um, I would say just staying friendly person and having an inside manner. The patients are going to tell management about it, right? The management, I've had them go around and ask patients in front of me how I've taken care of them, and the patients sung praises, you know. I think just staying positive no matter whether you're day shift or night shift. I think sometimes the shift can get certain rap. You know what I'm saying? Like night shift nurses are not as nice, or day shift complain a lot, they're spoiled. You know, I've heard it all, but I think just staying true to who you are, um, and no matter where you go, um, you know, just and being comfortable too. Sometimes with being uncomfortable and saying no, I don't feel um that's within my scope of practice and doing that because sometimes in travel nursing it may be time you get asked to do stuff that you shouldn't get asked to do. You know, it may
Hmm.
be, "Oh, can you be a charge nurse tonight?" No, like, no, I'm I'm only gonna be here 13 weeks. No, I'm not gonna be a charge nurse. You know, I'm gonna be a travel staff nurse like I'm supposed to be. So just getting, knowing your boundaries and staying true to.
Dopeness. Um, you know, like I said in the beginning, a lot of people here, and I've experienced this a lot. People might ask me, "Hey, what does your wife do?" And I say, "Oh, she a travel nurse." And first thing they come out and say, "Oh, travel nurses make a lot of money." And to me, I think people just see that one side. You know what I'm saying? And um, but it's so much more, like we kind of discussed in these questions. It's so much more that goes into it before you even get the bag. It's so much more that goes into it. Um, but from your experience, what are some misconceptions about travel nursing that you have encountered?
Of course, the elephant in the room is the money. um, you do make well, but you earn every dollar. Um, you put yourself at risk to be infected by people in different states. God forbid an incident happen and you have, you know, a needle stick or flash in the eye, you're having to get treatment in a different state. It's happened to us in a different state. Misconception is you make this money and you're not doing anything, but you're doing a whole lot, sometimes a whole lot more. Um, Sometimes you're being mistreated, giving the patients back to back. You know, I had one hospital where they gave the travel nurses all the patients on isolation that had different infectious diseases because they didn't want to put on gowns and shoe covers and glasses, you know. And I would have 3 or 4 of those type patients out of my 6, which anybody knows you're putting on stuff, taking off stuff, it gets hot, you know. So sometimes it's a little bad because they're jealous of the pay, but what comes with it is your ability to um have I'm just gonna be blunt. You gotta have balls to travel. Like it's not easy. It's not easy. Like, every again, you're duplicating your living expenses. So we have our house here in South Carolina, all our bills here in South Carolina. Wherever you go, you're gonna have to find housing, you're gonna have to have food, you're gonna have to have toiletries, you're gonna have to have um, you know, uniforms, laundry, you know, some places you're gonna need a car. So you have to count the cost of all of that. So it's a whole mental thing before you get to the money. Even compliance. Like, babe, no, I have had to take 52 tests within a 2 week or less time frame to get to Arizona. It was 52 tests because what they do in a year, you have to do in a few weeks. Getting your urine done, getting, you know, um, blood tests done, your titers. So it's a whole part. It's like find the assignment, secure the assignment on paper, sign the contract. Now let's get you into compliance. Now let's get you into, you know, uh, going to get your medical stuff checked off. Then you actually start the assignment. By the time you start, you like, dang, when is the first payday? Like I'm tired, but you do still have to go through their training. And when you get there, and then you get to be with a nurse for 3 days. So it's just, it's not easy. It's not easy. So, you know, the misconception is the money, but when you look at everything, you deserve it. You deserve it because not everybody's willing to be uncomfortable and go and take care of patients in other places outside of your state and learn the culture and travel to get there and learn directionally. Thankfully, my husband drives, so because I and that was part of the panic that I would have when I thought about doing it. Oh my God, I don't want to drive, but nurses that do, I would amazing because I don't have to worry. Thank God.
Well, babe, our boys are getting ready to turn up another notch. So we're gonna go ahead and get ready to land this plane. I've had fun. Thank you for sharing that insight. If it's any seasoned nurses, rookie nurses, whatever the case may be, and you are considering getting into travel nursing so you can position yourself in a better position to better take care of yourself and your family, man, feel free to reach out to my lovely wife, Janisha Nelson. I'm pretty sure she'll be glad to share some type of insight with you to try to help you along the way. She is plugged in with multiple groups where they provide housing and all that good stuff in multiple states. So man, y'all feel free to reach out to her. Don't hesitate to ask questions. There's no such thing as a crazy question or a dumb question. Only the questions that are not asked or dumb. So ask all the questions you need, and she'll be willing to help you. Thank y'all for tuning in to Entrepreneurs Podcast, and stay tuned. I will have more people that will come on and share insight into their career paths or their jobs or whatever the case may be. So this is Entrepreneurs Podcast. I'm your host, Dave Nelson. Let's go. Deuces.